As violent protests continue across the nation, President Trump has doubled down on his law and order rhetoric. The president sent federal agents to Portland to stop violent protests that have lasted for weeks now. Joining me now to discuss this law and order tactic is former Ohio Secretary of State and former Cincinnati Mayor Ken Blackwell. Let me call you Mayor Blackwell. Thank you for joining us. I need to note that you're an R mayor. Were you always a Republican?
I started out in a municipal party called the Charter Party that had been in existence since 1924.
All right, got you, sir. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on. President Trump has sent troops to Portland. He's talking about sending troops to New York and also Chicago. Some of these cities have been ruled by Democrats for a long time. Portland, 40 years, last time a Republican was a mayor. Chicago, 80 years, last time a Republican was a mayor. New York City, last one was Rudy Giuliani in 2000, 20 years ago. So what's going on with Democrat mayors and, I don't know, let's call it failing law and order in these cities?
Eric, it's pretty clear. Leadership today in cities can make a choice. They can choose to be a field of dreams, or they can choose to be killing fields. And right now, too many of the mayors, through their election of duty and responsibility, have watched their cities become killing fields. And that has all kinds of negative consequences for the citizens of those communities. And I think the president understands that our first obligation as elected leaders is to provide for the safety of our people.
You know, let's put you back in that mayor's in the mayor's mansion or in the mayor's office here of Cincinnati, and the things were going on. What would you say if President Trump came in and said, "Look, Mayor Blackwell, you're having a hard time keeping the peace on the streets. We want to bring some feds in. Are you okay with federal officers on the streets of Cincinnati while you were mayor?"
Well, look. The reality is this: there's always been interagency cooperation in terms of safety forces, depending upon the nature of the threat and the comprehensiveness of the threat. And if my city was in a state of play that was beyond my safety forces, or if in fact there were threats that actually came from MS-13 and other nefarious actors, I would in fact have a coordinated response that restored the rule of law and the safety of my people. It's pretty clear. Many of these cities are deteriorating economically, and this war zone status does not contribute to turning those cities around in terms of attracting capital investment, creating jobs, and creating places where you can raise a family, very successfully and happily. That's what we're in the business of doing.
Mayor, let's talk. I'm come from Chicago, and I know exactly what goes on in that place. I've been there for, grew up there, born and raised there. The southern and western suburbs are very, very violent. Give Mayor Lori Lightfoot some advice here. She's a new mayor. She walked into some killing fields, as you point out. What does she do to bring down the violence in those very dangerous southern and western suburbs of Chicago?
She supports the frontline officers, law enforcement and safety officers in her community. Right now, she has not been supportive, and she has put them at risk, as she has abandoned her responsibility as the political leader of that city. So you listen to your experts. You make sure that they have the resources they need to do the job. Most importantly, you make sure that they have the backdrop of your support. That is not existent. Non-existent in Chicago at this moment.
Yeah, you know where else it's not existent? Many
major
cities. The Democrat mayors are in the office. I think of De Blasio in New York when he showed up at an NYPD funeral a couple years back, and the whole crew, the whole NYPD, turned their back on the mayor who was speaking. It's when the mayor doesn't have the support of doesn't support the law enforcement, they don't trust the mayor's office, all hell can break loose. We're going to say thank you to Ken Blackwell, again, former mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you, sir.